All right, there we go. We're recording. Welcome to the TNL call. And I totally forgot before I booked this thing that Thanksgiving was tomorrow. Yeah, so I don't know how many people will actually show up, but obviously I wasn't going to cancel the call because we got an incredible speaker and he already said to do it. So, yeah, so we're going to just hop into it. I'm excited. Jamie Fitzpatrick, he's our guest speaker tonight, and I actually hopped on his team call. What was that, like 3 weeks ago or so? I really enjoyed the team, by the way. Let me mute everybody. Hold on. All right, there, everybody's muted. Where is Jamie? There you are. Okay. All right, buddy. You and I are the only ones unmuted. So, but yeah, no, I really enjoyed speaking to your team, and hopefully they were able to get something out of it. I know my team's very excited to hear from you tonight. Sorry, guys.
It's okay.
But anyways, I'm going to stop talking because I'm probably going to be coughing the whole damn time, all right? But I do know people are still having issues. They're saying that they're having issues connecting. So I don't know what's going on with that, but people can watch the recording. That's why we record. So, Jamie, I'm going to throw it over to you. Well, first of all, let me just kind of give you guys a list of his accomplishments because they're absolutely fantastic. So Jamie's actually not even been around in the business that long. He started coaching in January of 2015. So, you know, he's what, so 3 years into it, almost 3 years. And crazy enough, in just 2 years, he was a top 10 coach. He was number 6 in 2017, that's really, really hard to do, guys. To go from just starting as a coach to a top 10 coach with the amount of competition that there is, it's just absolutely fantastic. This is a lot about what Jamie and his wife have been able to do with their business. Both of them made elite, obviously, that year. Success Club Legends. He's a 14-star diamond. They have a son and a daughter, and his wife Kim was also she was a top 50 coach back in 2017 as well. So she was number 47. So anyways, Jamie, sorry guys, Jamie's gonna hop on and he's gonna talk about. Well, I'll just let him explain what he's gonna talk about. So Jamie, I'm done talking, man.
Go to bed.
I'm just sending it over to you, all right?
Cool. Yeah, and when Josh was on our call, and I'm not just blowing smoke either. I actually, when he hopped on our team call, it was one of my favorite ones we've done. Just because, yeah, like you can when you listen to some people, I'll talk a little bit about this with confidence and stuff like that, but just when you listen to some people, you just believe them. And, you know, with Josh speaking to our team, it's like I wanted to, we never really had a chance to at the leadership or anything, but it's like, I just wanted to go and sit down with Josh and have a beer and talk because it's just like there's knowledge there to gain. So I hope I can bring you some value. And I always say this when we do these team calls, it's like, you know, I'm probably not going to share with you any grand secrets because I don't think there are that many in this business. But I hope maybe if something I deliver or say it differently makes you think about your business and how you can improve and maybe gain some insight. I hope that's my goal for you. And let's keep this really casual, guys. Like if you have a question, raise your hand, take yourself off mute, fire away. I don't want to just listen to myself talk the whole time anyway, so I want to do some Q&A at the end. So, yeah, what I wanted to share with you guys is basically give you a bit of my background, and some of that background is related to my topic, which is really treating this business like an actual business, which I find a lot of people don't actually do. They might think they do, but I don't actually think they treat it like a business. And I say that with respect. So I'll jump into a little bit about my story and why I have actually done traditional business before. And so I think I got a fairly fast start in this business because of some of my background, but I don't feel like my background is necessary. I think as long as you understand maybe what it takes to get to a certain level or whatever your goals are in this business, I think sometimes people just don't know what they don't know. And maybe, and I always use this term with my team, it's like you kind of sometimes have to redefine what your definition of hard work and effort is and what you're actually willing to commit to this. Because a lot of people are like, yeah, I want to be elite this year. Yeah, I want to, make 6 figures or whatever that is. But it's like, man, you got to follow that up with some serious action, or they're just words, right? It just means nothing. And sometimes, and maybe people don't understand the actual amount of action you have to take in your life. I know most of you have full-time jobs or whatever you have, kids, I get all that. Like I had that too when I started. So like we can kind of remove those excuses out. So I kind of want to talk to you about how what I did when I started and what I think was some of the main things that kind of made us successful, whatever you deem that to be, and how sort of, relating this to what an actual business should look like for you. So my story, I'm Canadian, and so I don't take part in any of the Alabama stuff banter. I don't feel like I'm qualified to do that yet. But I grew up an athlete. I played every sport imaginable. I played hockey, of course. Being in Canada, played a ton of hockey. Played a ton of baseball as a kid. And then I played some basketball in college and stuff like that. So I was one of those kids that was always really active. And, as life happens, kids happen. I got to a place where things just really needed to change for me. So I graduated high school, got my teaching degree, started teaching high school. I taught high school for about 7 years. I'm probably a lot older than most of you, but I taught high school for 7 years, was really enjoying that. And I actually, the last year that I was teaching high school, I was coaching senior level basketball and stuff like that. And I actually got offered in Canada a collegiate coaching job to coach basketball. And I actually quit teaching and declined that job because it just didn't feel like that's what I wanted to do the rest of my life. And most people are like, yeah, but that's what you were like aiming for. And I kind of was, but when it came down to it, I just decided I had to go move up to a small territory in Northern Canada, and Northern Canada get really cold. And if you're a single dude there, you don't want to go up to places like that. So I basically quit teaching. And my brother and I and my father was willing to invest some money with us. This is a crazy transition, but this is kind of like how I've always lived my life, is if I'm not happy, I kind of move on. And I want to do stuff that really makes me happy. And I feel like I'm serving what I should be doing. So it sounds crazy to leave like a 7-year teaching gig where I had pension built up, but at the time I just wasn't that happy. And so my brother and I, my father basically said, listen, why don't you move out to Ontario? Ontario is more Eastern Canada. So we moved up. My brother and I were both single. And he's like, I'll invest in a retail store, because my sister was doing retail and stuff like that. So we opened up, the place that we opened up our first store was like the highest per capita income place in Canada. So we opened up, this is my brother and I, we're two dudes, athletes, like we drink beer. We like we're pretty regular dudes. We opened up one of the first dog lifestyle boutique stores in Canada, because we thought at that time, no, you're laughing, but this is going back 2003, where there was none of that stuff out there. And so we opened this store with like holistic pet food. Like I didn't even have a dog at that time. Anyway, so we opened up the store and we set it up differently, right? We found really high-end products. We cruised around the United States and found all these products, like high-end life jackets for dogs and really cool collars and like really funky sports stuff for dogs and all that. And we opened up this store. We would like color block, just like you'd see in women's fashion stores. And so it was a really different looking dog store. And we opened it up and people loved it. It was like different. It was like we even had a little doggy bakery at the front. And again, it was the right clientele. It was the right area. And after about 6 months, we had people coming into the store and being like, is this a US franchise? It just had that feel, right? They're like, is this the only store? Do you have? And they're like, no, this is the first one. So we hired some franchise consultants and we started franchising out the concept. And we actually got it up to 23 locations. We had one in New Jersey and the rest were across Canada, coast to coast. So it was like fairly successful for the most part. So we turned into franchisors. So we would sell the concept to people and they open up all the stuff. So we got to a point where, and there is a point to this, we got to a point where we got into business and the business changed and we brought in business partners and we had a different vision than them. And like a lot of businesses, it started going sideways really fast. And long story short, I basically walked in one day and I was like, and my brother was my partner and he wasn't the problem, but I basically just walked in one day and I was like, I'm done. I quit. I want to sell my shares. I'm out. And this was in 2007 because I was miserable. And I'm about 190 right now. I was up to about 245, 250. So I actually had lost 65 pounds. So I was so miserable running our company and from the stress, and we were involved in lawsuits with our franchisees. Like, you have to understand when there's corporate lawsuits, they just throw everyone's name into the hat and you just like lawyer up. And so for about 4 or 5 years, I was basically in these multi-million-dollar lawsuits. And as you can tell from the stress about it and stuff, it was probably one of the worst times in my life. Hence, I just self-medicated with food, alcohol, you name it, gained about 65 pounds. And long story short, basically got out of the company and was watching, infomercial one night and good old Tony Horton's P90X came on. And for whatever reason, he just inspired me and I ordered it and I lost all the weight. And that was my first sort of entry into Beachbody. And then over the next 6-7 years, my wife and I were customers of Beachbody. And we basically owned every DVD. We went through them all, Insanity, everything that came out, we bought as DVD packages. And we were really good customers. And I think coaching in Canada opened in, 2012, Josh, 13 maybe. I'm not sure. One of those years. I didn't even really know that much about it. And I say this in all team calls. I want everyone to realize this is why you have to keep reaching out to people for this opportunity. You just have to. And it doesn't have to be a cold invite, because I know everyone has different opinions on that. I think you need to form a relationship. You gotta talk about this opportunity with people, because my wife and I were customers for 6-7 years. We were Shakeology drinkers. Like, we were full on Beachbody people. And not once did anybody ever invite us to a challenge group or to the coaching opportunity. So it sat in Canada, the opportunity, for 3 years, and no one reached out to us. And this isn't an ego thing, but like, guys, you never know who the next coach you're going to sign up. And everyone thinks this market's saturated. It's not. They just show up in all our feeds because we're friends with coaches and stuff like that. So you have to keep reaching out, because you never know who's going to get added onto that weak leg of yours. You just never know, guys. And like, sometimes with coaching, it's not about quantity. You don't have to sign up 20 coaches a month or 5 coaches a month. But if you sign up the right people who have a vested interest in this and they really want to change things, that's what matters. And that could be tomorrow for some of you. It could be tomorrow for some of you. For my coach, it was the next day. I messaged and he called and I hopped on his team, and it's a lot of volume in his downline, guys. So you never know what's going to happen. And no one ever reached out to us. I didn't even know what a challenge group was when I started coaching. Someone told me I had to run one, so I started researching what it was. So lost all the weight. My point, guys, is that, and I'll kind of get into this, is that when I signed up as a coach, I always relate this back. We were already using Shakeology, so I signed up in Canada at the time. It was $45. So I started this online business for 45 Canadian dollars, which is like $9 US. So it literally, here's the thing. When we started our first retail store, my dad probably lent us about $150,000. My brother and I probably each put in about 50 grand. It was about $250,000 the first retail store. Our rent every month was about $8,000 Canadian a month to our landlord. We were in a really high income area, but $8,000 a month in rent. And the general rule in retail is you have to do about 10 times that in sales a month to break even. So we had to do about 80,000 in dog biscuits and collars and little clothing and stuff. So you can imagine how crazy that is. So the first 2 or 3 years that we owned that retail store, you can imagine, like, my parents worked their whole life. They were teachers. They didn't have all this money. They lived we were very middle class. They cashed in some RSPs to lend us money for this retail store. Imagine this, a dog lifestyle store, and they took money out to invest in us. How hard do you think my brother and I worked that business the first 2 or 3 years? Like, we got Christmas off. Other than that, we were at that store from about 8 or 9 in the morning till probably 8 or 9 at night. Now, we would drink wine with the customers at night sometimes. We had fun. That being said, those first 3 years, we probably took 5 or 6 days off, and we busted our asses because we treated that business like a $250,000 business that we invested in, and my dad invested in my mom. Here's the thing. For whatever reason, I think maybe because of that experience and my job as my coach, especially with our team, and my job as a leader, is I try to get all of my coaches to treat their business like a $250,000 business, because their actions will follow that. That's hard to do, because when you buy a $160 US challenge pack, consciously, it's a $160 challenge pack or business. And I would say 90% of coaches treat it like that. And that is the number one issue. Is I don't know if people maybe don't understand the opportunity as much, or it is that conscious thing of just contributing that amount of money to a business, so they put in a certain level of effort. And I don't know all of you. Some of you may work 14 hours a day in the business. I don't know. I'm just speaking in general terms from what I kind of understand in the generalization of talking to coaches and stuff. But I think the difference for me is, even when I signed on for $45 coach fee, I treated this business like a business from day one. And I immersed myself in everything Beachbody, everything I could find out. I remember watching videos from everybody, like everyone, Josh, a lot of guys, because I'm a guy. And here's the other thing, and I think, everyone complains about guys not being able to do the business, but I think the biggest blessing for me was no one told me they couldn't. Like, no one told me, you're a dude, you got a much less chance of. I just never thought that way or believed that at all. It just was never in my mindset. So it never even entered my mind. So as I started the biz, I just started to go. So here's the thing, guys. It's like a part of this business is people go to university, they spend all this money on that. I look at someone like myself who goes into retail and spends that kind of money, yet, we've got coaches who get in for $160 but can't work the business for 2 or 3 months and then quit. And then, we can get into the whole employee CEO mindset part of it. This is entrepreneurship. Like, you're going to have to bust your ass for a year, maybe 2, maybe 3 before you start to see some change in what's going on. Unfortunately, a lot of people, whether it's lack of PD or a lack of vision, they just don't get that far. That's the biggest reason people fail. They just don't get that far. You guys know, you sign up coaches after 2 months, are like, ooh, this shit's hard. It's like, you want to know what's hard? Like, you got to have some grit in life, in business. This is just entrepreneurship. Do you have any idea what it was like to go through a lawsuit and try to run that business and be personally sued for when I have someone quit or a diamond rank drops, I'm kind of like, yeah, I've been through worse. That's not really that big of a deal. And I just move on. I just move on to the next thing that I have to do, because I feel like some of those experiences maybe have built up a little bit of armor. And so my job with my coaches is bad stuff's going to happen. You're going to have coaches quit. You can't man, if you haven't committed to at least a year to this business, for me personally, I just don't think you've tried that hard, or you don't maybe understand how much you have to go through to get to a level where you're going to want to succeed in whatever goals you have. So that grit's a big one. And again, I'm not talking about so much about all the things that I've been through, but I know Josh has been through some physical stuff. I've suffered for 20 years. I suffer from post-concussion syndrome. I will sometimes have not the type of headache that you would not a pounding headache, but I get for months on end, I get weird sensations in my teeth and my head from all the concussions from hockey and basketball. And it's not a lot of days go by where I don't feel 100%, but that's that grit factor. My family and my kids are just more important than that. Where I want to take this business is just more important than that stuff. So sometimes I get pissed off when people, they pack it in and they maybe don't have that armor and that grit to build up. That's just part of this, guys. Because if you don't have that in life or this business, it's going to be really tough to get through some of those times. And I could talk about PD. You guys get PD shoved down your throat all the time, but they shove it down your throat for a reason, because it works, right? And it builds you up to all those tough times. So you got to have grit, guys. You got to show up. I talk about this all the time. It's I would move my computer and show you, but I've got a schedule on our wall, and it starts at 5:45 a.m., 6 a.m., 7, 7:45, 8, 9:15, 10, 10. Like we literally have our schedule. It changes a little bit, but these are activity. I'll take a screenshot and send it to Josh later if you're curious, but like it literally says, you know, wake up, meditate, work out, Instagram stories, Facebook, or Instagram post at a time. And we literally take kids to school, streak for an hour, which is our power hour. We do about 6 of those a day, by the way. Accountability group check-in, you know, business page live, Instagram live. And we just lay our schedule out because we treat it like a business. Because when I was doing retail, we had to treat it like a business. When was inventory due? When were these shipments coming in? And so we literally like map out our days, map them out. Does it change? Sure. Of course things change. But that structure for us, like if I'm not sure what to do, I look up and I'm like, that's what I got to do. And it's like mixed with the core vital behaviors that we do to move our business forward. And like I said, that's just showing up every day in your business. This isn't rocket science. You guys have heard all this stuff before. You know, are things changing? Absolutely. I think the way coaching, even I'm just getting into 3 years in the business. Even the way I did business my first year is changing radically now. It has to. You know, Facebook algorithms are changing. Now we got these IG stories, which I'm trying to get better at. I suck, but I'm trying to improve because that's just, you know, you got to do the hard things too. And that's hard for me. It's hard for me to do the Instagram. I forget actually with concussions or whatever you want to call it. I literally forget to do Instagram stories. So I'm trying to get better at that. And so all these things, like you have to be an active participant in your business. You have to be. And I'm sorry, guys, especially if you have a goal, like maybe Josh, maybe Lindsay Matway, maybe those people, I don't know what they do on a daily basis. Maybe they can take a day off or a week off. I'm not sure. I know I'm not at that level yet. I'm not where I want to be. So I'm showing up every day. I'm showing up every single day. I don't take the weekend off. Sorry if this is the news you wanted to hear. I don't. Like, I've just got too many big goals that I want to hit because I know in 5 years and 10 years, man, all the time I'm putting in now, it's going to pay off so much. Like, you know, I don't need to necessarily play my 2 nights a week of adult hockey that I used to play. I just don't need to anymore. I'm getting old for one reason. I just want to slash all the young kids that go around me now. That's why I don't play. I'm very aggressive on the ice, so I stop. Also, my concussions. And 3, right now for me in my life, that doesn't move my business forward. Fantasy baseball. Love fantasy baseball. First 2 years, I stopped playing. I'm actually started again this year because I want to reward myself a little bit. First 2 years, I just stopped playing fantasy baseball or football. I stopped playing completely because I just was willing to sacrifice that stuff, guys. I was willing. And then even I play like, you know, the co-ed baseball stuff. I finally started playing again last summer, but I stopped for the first 2 years because I just was like tunnel vision on what I wanted. And I just showed up every day, you know? So, and that's something you just have to ask yourself. You have to take your own inventory of what you're doing on a daily basis, you know, map it out. You guys probably have examples of daily activity sheets. I know Beachbody has their own, but like, just track what you do every day, guys, and make sure you're doing those vitals. Because the problem with taking days off and the problem with taking weeks off, not only are you losing followers and momentum and stuff like that, but if you're going every day and you're doing the vitals and you're showing up every day and you're moving your business forward, I almost feel like if you take a day off, you don't just stall, you actually go back. And if you take 2 days off, it drops a little bit more. You take a couple of weeks off, doesn't mean you can't recover, but don't do that to yourself. You're just pedaling backwards, guys. You know, you're pedaling backwards. What else did I have here? I call it 10 touches. Like, I'll tell my coaches sometimes do 10 touches every day. What does that mean? It can be like you can comment on 3 people's stuff. And it's just easy to remember. 10 touches, 10 touches. So make sure every day I do 10 touches. That could be a mix of 3 comments on other people's stuff on Instagram or Facebook. Maybe it's inviting another 3 people. That's 6 touches. And then maybe the last 4 are I do two phone calls with 2 of my coaches, maybe 4 phone calls, and I will voice note 2 other challengers or other coaches. So I just make sure, you know, you do your 10 touches every day. And that can be a mix of stuff. And it just, you know, if I'm talking to one of my coaches, I'm like, how's your day going? What's going on? And they start to, I'm like, have you done your 10 touches today? No, start with that. And that's just a simple little thing I can tell them to get going. And that's just taking immediate action to move your business forward. can be an invite. Like I said, a follow-up is a touch. It's just touching, reaching out to somebody. And it's kind of in all aspects of the business. It's just an easy thing to remember. So I do that. I know you hear it all the time, but if you're not tracking your customers, you're not tracking your nose, you're in trouble. You got to track those people and follow up with them. I know you hear that, so I don't want to go too much on that. And showing up every day is just posting. Facebook, IG. I know they're talking now, you shouldn't post on Facebook more than 2 days or 3 days a week. So, because my wife and I tag each other and everything. So we like overloading Facebook sometimes. So we're even like, I'll post 1 or twice a day or go live, and then Kim will maybe post. Well, she likes to post, so she'll maybe go more, but we're trying to almost limit it now. But that's that trust factor, guys, especially the live. And I know it's not easy for everybody, but video is king. This isn't the news flash for everyone. We just went live before this call. Don't go now, but if you want to go look after, just to see what we just really talk about. We'll touch on business stuff, but a lot of times we just talk about whatever. Or if we do it alone, we'll talk about whatever. I just think it's like there's a trust meter people have with you. And when you get into that conversation of a challenge pack or coaching, man, if they know who you are through live video, or they have a feel and you're you, and if you swear, you swear, if you drink, whatever, be you. It's my biggest advice. But if that trust meter's up here, when you get into those conversations, you're 70% there, 80% there. You still have to do a little bit of selling and stuff, but that's why video is king, because they get to know who you are, And if you're goofy like us, be goofy. If you're dorky, be dorky. If you like guns, you like guns. If you do this, you do that, because you're going to attract the people you're supposed to. But, unless you're like a brilliant Facebook poster with pictures and stuff, which I don't feel like I am, video just lets people into who you are. We put our kids on video. We'll do, we let people in our life. Our social media is a sneak peek into our life and our business. And so anytime we get into the actual sales process, I feel like most of the work is done, because they've been following and they get a feel for who we are. Another little scenario I talk about with, when I relate it to when we used to do retail with your social media, is if you're not showing up on social media, we used to do window displays. Like my brother and I, 2 dudes trying to do these fancy dog window displays so that when people would walk by our store, they could see what we had on sale, or they could see what we actually offered in the window. Your social media is the same thing. Like I go to, even my own coaches, I'll go to their social media page and I've got no frickin' clue what they do or who they are or what they're about. It's like having a retail store and just putting up black paper in your window, and people go by your retail store like, what do you sell? What do you do? You got to have a beautiful window display, or else people aren't going to know what you're doing. And it's the same thing with social media. And it's the same thing with your banner. Like if you're an experienced coach, you can get funky with your Facebook banner and stuff, and you can do your own stuff because you're experienced and you maybe have a following. But I think your banner is important. It's just kind of show who you are, what your life's about, and then your social media feed. And if you're not sure what you're showing, I do an inventory with my coaches, and I would encourage you to do it too and see if it's useful. Is like, make up 5 categories. One might be business mentor, someone who likes to work out a lot, a family person. You could say Beachbody coach, a health and fitness coach, and like go through your last 20 or 30 Facebook posts or Instagram or whatever, and you can put them in all these categories that you've done, and you get a really good feel when you do your inventory. Like you might have, 24 of your 28 posts are in one category. You have a pretty good feel of what people, maybe it's just you working out nonstop. If you're like, hey, that person likes to work out a lot. But do they know you offer an accountability group? Do they know you're a business mentor? Do they know you have something to offer? Are you showing that on social media? But if you're packed into one category, that's how they view you. It's like, a coach who posts about their kid in the backseat eating a banana, or all they post about are their kids or their mom. Yeah, you're a great mom. Fantastic. But is that moving your business forward? Because all anyone ever sees you at is a parent, which is okay, but it doesn't really help with business. So do a little inventory that way. My coaches do that a lot, and it seems to help. Same thing as a retailer, we would invest in trade shows and events. Same thing with coaching. This isn't a news flash. Like, honestly, like we've done pretty well for ourselves in 3 years from an income standpoint. I don't know the income disclaimer, so I'm not going to say it, but like, I'll be honest with you, we've sunk a lot of our money back into, not all of it, but a lot of our money back into events and stuff. Because, being a former business person, I also knew that, and we also built this, both my wife and I had full-time corporate jobs. We only quit our corporate jobs this year. So those first 2 years, we both had full-time corporate jobs. So we actually could take a lot of that money with Beachbody, and we could invest it back in events and getting our coaches to events, all that stuff. So I would still say, like, you know, if you don't necessarily need the income all the time, I think it's a good idea to invest back in yourself. You know, go do different training if you can, even if it's not Beachbody stuff. Maybe it's network marketing, maybe it's other business training. I'm a big believer in that. So that's one thing I had. And yeah, I think if there's any secret in this business, and I want to do some Q&A here, but if there's any secret in this business, I think it's, and you can break it up into when you're talking to someone about joining your accountability group or a challenge pack or about the business opportunity. I think if there's one secret, it's confidence. And when you speak, the beautiful part with Facebook now is the voice notes. I actually don't even tell my coaches on Facebook. They're not allowed to message people anymore. Don't message people. Why would you? You can voice note. Or they even have the phone feature on Facebook now. It doesn't cost you any money. Or send a video message. Video is king. Voice is king. Tone is king. Who you are, your personality. Confidence, man, is so much in this business. Like, and I make fun of myself. I'll do, like, you know, if I'm doing a Super Saturday or something, and I really mean this, like, especially with my concussions, like, I've dummied down a couple notches, guaranteed, from getting hit on the head too many times. And, like, I'm of mediocre intelligence. Seriously. Like, my brother is so much, I'd have to call my brother. I still call my brother weekly. I'm like, okay, I'm trying to set up my cable box. That stuff I can't figure out. Like, I can run my organization pretty good, but little things like that, or IKEA, like, I am a moron. Like, I still have to get help for that stuff. Like, I'm not, but I think the one thing, even though I'm being self-deprecating on myself, I got, you know, average marks in school, all that stuff. I feel like I work really hard. Like, and I mean this with the greatest amount of respect, and maybe not Josh, and I don't know all of you, but, like, if I'm in a room of 300 Beachbody coaches, I just outwork most of them. I'll just outwork all of you. That's the only reason. I'll just willing to go farther than you are. It's like the who does the quote? Oh, the Will Smith quote. Like, if he gets on a treadmill with one other person and you're going next to each other, he's like, I'll either die or I'm going to win, or whatever the quote is, right? That's like me. Like, I'm just going to outwork most of you. I'm not extra smarter than you. I'm just going to work till I beat you. And I've always been like that way in sports and stuff too. And so, but through PD and through the crap I've been through and stuff, like, when I talk to people, and it's not ego, I don't feel like I'm arrogant or pompous, but, like, there's a tone there. There's a confidence like that. You have to sharpen that sword. And you can. Like, I'm actually an introvert. Like, I really am. Like, if you meet me at a party, a lot of times I'm the quietest guy in the room because I'm kind of shy around people. I can be a situational extrovert like this, so I got to get on a team call and I can talk, just like when I'm on a call with a potential coach or a challenge pack or a customer. You know, I ramp it up. I get hyped up for it. But I'm confident. I'm standing tall. I'm smiling. Like, are you doing all those things, guys? I really believe if there's a secret in this business, it is the aura that you're giving off. Like, are you confident when you talk? And if you're not, man, pick up some books. Like, I don't know, go to Toastmasters or something. Like, work on that skill, because that's everything. If you're slouched and you're talking to people on video or over the phone, are you excited? Like, can they feel your freaking energy popping through the phone? And they're like, okay, I want to do what this person, because that's all it is, guys. That's all it is. Like, if I sign up a potential coach, I just know they're like, okay, this guy's either crazy or he's, like, got the best thing going in this business. I want a part of what he's doing. That's all it is. That's all it is, guys. Like, I think, again, this isn't ego. I'm just stating this for fact, but, like, I signed up in January. I didn't sell my first challenge pack till March 7th, 2015. I had 800 Success Club points my first year. That was just, guys, and here's the crazy part. I didn't know that much about Shakeology. So that shows you it was just this passion, like I'm talking now. It's like people couldn't help but be like, I'm in. I want in. What are you doing? Like, I want in. Like, if there's a secret, guys, that's kind of it. And I feel great about it because what I'm getting them into is a $160 joke fee for this business. It's a joke to pay $160 for the potential of this business. It's ridiculously low. Ridiculously low. to start an online business for $160, you know, and you just get to try all the products. You're not even actually paying a fee for that much. And then, you know, we put in the all access pass now for a year for a customer. And I talk this way to people. I'm like, this is a no brainer. Like, what are you doing? Like, let's go. So that's my point though, is like, if you feel like maybe you're lacking in that, I don't know, put on some music before you hop on a call with someone, or do something. Like Tony Robbins is a big, like, he punches himself and gets himself into another state. Like, that is part of this, guys. And it's same on social media. Like, they have to view you. They're like, whatever she's doing, I want some of that energy, whether it's the business opportunity or the challenge group. And that's kind of like, I feel like that's, you know, a lot of our success. And my wife is even like crazier than I am. Like, she's just like, ah! Like she's like energy, the Energizer Bunny, you know? And that's what people feed off of those. So if that's something, maybe I think that's something you can tackle, and you can like get better at that right now, because it's just building that self up and get ready for the conversation. And the big thing with belief and confidence too, though, even though I said I didn't know much about Shakeology, but like the pitch was never about, people don't want to know what's particularly in Shakeology. They just want to know that you have a solution for them, right? The thing about it was that I would educate myself on Beachbody and the compensation plan and genealogy, and I would get educated on all that stuff. And that alone, so when I went to talk to someone about it, my confidence was through the roof because I knew it. I went through it all because I spent 20 hours on genealogy on YouTube trying to figure it out. And it took me a long time to understand it. But I was like, I made sure I understood it so that when I spoke to someone, I was confident about it, right? You know, competence builds confidence. Competence builds confidence. If you feel competent at stuff, you're elevated, you smile more, you want to talk about it more. You're worried about coaching, you don't know much about it, and the compensation plan, don't know. How do you think that conversation is going to go with someone who wants to talk about coaching? You're not going to want to talk about it. And that's just that subconscious thing where you're not attracting people to, right? My last advice, let's get on some questions. My last little thing is like, I mean, you got Josh here too. He's, you know, he just be you. You know, I don't have to tell you guys that with the leaders on this team. It's like that. I always tell my coaches that, who are fearful of being themselves. It's like that, you know, that vulnerability and the fact that all the stuff that coaches are afraid to share on social media, like all that stuff, the irony is that is the magic and the gold of this business. But everyone's so scared of it. But that's the gold. Like, that is the magic and the gold, because people are like, that person's like me. I've been depressed before too. Yeah, I've actually been on, you know, whatever medication. That's the stuff that people relate to. And I'm not saying you need to share all this stuff on social media. That wasn't my point. But guys, like, we're all a little effed up. You guys know that, right? Like, we're all a little messed up, guys. We're human. Like, we're all a little dysfunctional. Everybody is. Like, everyone is. So don't be scared about that, because we all relate to each other because we're all a little messed up. And that's the good part. But people want to hear that. They want to know your struggles. They want to know that what we do makes our life better. And we will take you on this journey too. Okay? That's what I had, Josh. I think I went 40 minutes. We can do some Q&A if you want.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, it's so funny how much you and I are like. I mean, it's really funny, because as you're sitting there talking, like, yeah, that's me. Yeah, too. Oh yeah, he's right on that point. Okay, yeah, he's right on that point too. I mean, everything you said was just absolutely spot on. I loved how you talked about the confidence, though, because confidence is everything, and it's something that I talk a lot about with my team and my coaches. Is listen, and I say this a lot, and I don't know if I mentioned this on your call, but most of the time, if I sign up a coach and I see that there's a severe lack of confidence, I don't even go into the business aspect of it. I say, you know what, just stop, like, hold off. We need to get your mind right before you can ever have any type of success in this business. Because if you don't have confidence in yourself, others aren't going to be able to have confidence in you. So, you know, The Magic of Thinking Big is obviously the book that I go to. It's always my go-to book, just because there's so much positivity that comes out of that, and confidence boosting stuff. So
Love it.
You're absolutely right about that. And treating it like a business, and it's very interesting to me, because here we are, right? I'm sick. I've got a lot of other things with my health going on. It's the night before Thanksgiving, but we're on a call. right? We're on a team call, and I'm not missing team calls, and I'm not missing my coaching calls, and I'm still running my business. Why? Because I'm treating it like a business. And the thing is, most people just don't. And in fact, I was just running through the names here, right? And I'm going to call out some people, not anybody on here, but I signed up a bunch of coaches in the last month or two. Not one of them are on. Not one of them are on. And that tells me a lot about them. I mean, they knew about the call. You know what I mean? So, but I don't know, man. Success, that's what it comes down to. Having confidence in yourself and treating it like a business. So everything that you said was just so spot on, man. Just so spot on. So we're going to open up for questions. So if you guys have any questions for Jamie, I mean, now's the time to ask. You got him on the call. The guy's obviously very knowledgeable about the business and has had a lot of success. Don't be shy. So unmute yourself, or you can just type it in the comments or in the chat box. You can just ask your questions in there. I don't see anybody typing anything. So
I have a question.
Woody.
Hey, what's up, Jamie? Thanks for joining tonight. My
no
name
worries.
is Woody.
Thanks for being here.
No problem. So my question for you is, I would consider myself a sort of a retailing giant. I do very well in this business from a retailing standpoint. Success Club consistently, volume's always pretty high on my side of it. Where I've always lacked is finding quality coaches that want to work the business. I mean, Josh kind of touched on it just now. Coaches know about the call. None of them are on it. They don't want to commit themselves. Where are you finding your quality coaches that really want to work the business? Are these guys, are you finding them in challenge groups? Are these just cold contacts you're making with people that are business people? Where are you finding people that want to go in and work?
Sorry, Woody, I got it all. One sec. What's up, buddy?
I just need to borrow one of these for my book.
Why aren't you in bed? Go. Sorry.
That's okay.
So listen, I would say I've tried everything, right? Like I've tried Facebook advertising with income posts and stuff like that. And yeah, I got a few people from that, but again, you tend to attract people, not all the time, because maybe you're on this call because of an income post, but sometimes you attract people for the wrong reasons with that. So I stopped doing them about, 10 months ago. I stopped. But with some of the notoriety and stuff with top 10 and all that, you get the odd person reaching out now more than I did before when I started, obviously, because no one knows who you are. I get a lot of dudes who are thinking of doing the business reaching out. But to this day, and especially the first 2 years, we get probably, I'm going to guess 90%, I haven't added it up, maybe 80 to 90% of our coaches are from our challenge groups, accountability groups. So they go through the process of being in our group. Like we say, I want them to, because here's the thing, not all the time, but a lot of the time, coaches who just jump in for the business op and don't know what Beachbody is, never had anything, it takes them a while to fall in love with the product if they do it all. And if they don't fall in love with the product in the process, they struggle with coaching, I find. So for us, we put people through a month, 2 months, 3 months of the accountability group, really spend a lot of time in our accountability group. I ran the accountability group pretty much for the first 18 months. Then my wife started doing the business. Now she does some of that. I'm still in there, but we've kind of split up our roles a little bit based on what we enjoy and are the best at. It's advantage of the both of us. But I did everything for the first 18 months for the most part. But even then it's like my whole goal was to get our challengers to fall in love with the process, and not to sound hokey about it, but and get results and feel good about everything. And then I always did a great job of thanking our challengers for engaging in the group and sending them private messages going, listen, really appreciate you being in the group and speaking up and being active. And that was kind of the first point of contact, is thanking them for the ones that I thought maybe had potential. And then maybe a week or two later, I would put it in my calendar. I'd reach out to them again and be like, hey, are you enjoying everything? How's Shakeology going for you? Is it something that you love? And I may bring up, discount coaching opportunity, because I feel like that's a little bit of a window into the actual business op. And then maybe my third point of contact would be, hey, listen, you're awesome in the group. I love what you're doing. I just really think you might be really good at this as a coach? Have you ever thought about it? Like as simple as possible, because, and most of the time they would get flattered that I was asking them. It wasn't like, oh no, I couldn't do that. They'd be like, really? Like, some would say no, but a lot of the time it would be like, really? And even though they may not commit then and there, a month or two down the road, when I ask them again, they're like, yeah, okay. And if I'm posting properly on social media and they see all this stuff I'm going to and all that, it all ties in together, right? You can't not be posting on social media, but inviting them to the coaching opportunity, because then they're not seeing how awesome it is. So like, I would say most of my diamond coaches were challengers. And they didn't come at all for the business opportunity. They came to feel better. And through that process, turn them into coaches. So, I mean, and there's a lot in between there of how we run our challenge groups and all that stuff that, I can share some of those resources if you want after. But does that kind of answer the question?
Yeah, it does. I think the way I run my challenge groups probably doesn't sort of breed that likelihood of finding somebody good. You know what I mean? I'm probably not making them active enough in the group to find out who leaders are. Well, that's probably the missing link for me.
That's just it. Like you got to kind of almost have to use it as you're giving them the tools and you want them to feel better and lose weight and all that stuff. But we also treat it as like a little bit of a sneak peek into getting them to do some of the things they might have to do as a coach, like getting them to go live.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, no worries.
Leslie, did you have a question?
Yeah, I did, but you just totally turned me off, so it's fine.
Sorry.
Raise my hand like a good student and everything.
I didn't know what it was. I clicked on it and it went away.
I just want to interrupt him. I know that you guys you love doing your free groups and then transitioning in. I've heard you talk about it, but I'm just wondering, when it comes to your coaches too, do you guys run everything together, or is it just they go through your challenge group, you're you become a coach, okay, here's your guidebook to everything and let's run with this? Or how do you are you running everything as a huge team, or
like my downline?
Yeah.
No. But interestingly, we're kind of, I'm not going to say we're switching it up. We'll always run accountability groups, just us, my wife and I run accountability group, and they run their own accountability group. For us anyway, I just feel like it's too many people. Mm-hmm. For what we want out of the accountability group. That's just the way we've always done it. So typically, there are people who pair up or we'll have a diamond coach who does it for her downline. I'm not against that or anything like that. It's just we typically will do it separately. We do coach sneak peeks together as a downline. Am I answering your question?
Yeah, kind of. I just didn't know, because I have some girls right now that are crushing my challenge group as a coach. They're a coach as well. And they're finding people and they're bringing them in, but they still, it's again, that belief side of it, but they're I just don't know if I can run my own challenge group. It's that, and I let them come into ours. Obviously we're not as big as you yet.
I think maybe what you might have to do with those people, depending on their personality, is just take off the training wheels and be it's a 2-month rule. You can come in here for 2 months, but after 2 months, and believe in them, build them up, tell them you can do this, no problem. I'll even come in and help you set it up, but you're going to do your own group after 2 months, and you're going to take your people and put them in there. And that's just trying to develop leaders, right? And pushing, kind of making them a little uncomfortable to push them over that edge to get them to do that. Because some of them might just stay with you forever if you let them.
Yeah, it's true.
But everyone, I don't know, everyone runs a business differently, right? It's...
No, that's good to know. Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? By the way, I'm kind of branching into the combination challenge group right now, where I've been doing them myself. So this is actually the first month that I've tried it out. And I did it with my free group, and we had 1,000 people in my free group. So,
holy.
I know.
Yeah.
So, obviously there's not going to be that many with the challenge group that I'm running here next week, but it's probably still going to be a lot, but whatever. I'm just testing it out to kind of see if it helps some people. And because I think there's a lot of coaches that are confused about what to do, and and goes back to what we just talked about. They don't have the confidence to do it.
Yeah.
So maybe watching me and seeing how I interact with people and seeing how I do live videos and whatnot, I'll give them the courage and the confidence to go do it themselves. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if it works or not.
Yeah, and we've been doing like one. We're just changing it now just to see how it works. We've been doing one free 5-day group a month, and then actually opening up a whole new group the next month and doing a brand new free group with new people. I don't know why, but now we're actually creating this whole community thing. And so we're going to put everyone can get free into the community. We'll run a 5-day free group at the start. And then for the rest of the month, won't be that active in there, but it's almost like a holding group for people who want to get into our actual accountability group. So we'll provide value in there and then hopefully build up that community. I know a lot of people do that. We just never have. So there was Aaron said, what's wrong with allowing our PS coaches to co-host challenge? I don't think anything. I mean, I think it's great training ground, but
yeah,
I don't know if that was for me, but
I think it was for you.
Okay.
Any other questions, guys? Do you guys have any questions? Are we good? Once, twice. Come on.
Oh, there's one. It's Michaela.
She had her hand raised.
Hi, I'm Michaela.
Hello.
So I've heard, Jamie, your challenge groups are so much fun. And so I'm wondering, what do you do to make them fun? Like, what do you do differently?
What do we do? I mean, I think we probably, obviously it's working. I think we probably spend way more time in there than most people spend on their challenge groups, like with new content. Like we really mix it up. Kim and I go live in there pretty much every day and try to make it really interactive. We just started, I can't say this is the secret to all of it because we just started doing it about 2-3 months ago, but we finally hired a VA, a virtual assistant for us. And so we do a lot of cool graphs. So this isn't always accessible to everyone, so I don't like talking about it all the time because it took us a while to get to this level in our accountability group. But we have our assistant make up all these cool graphics, and we'll actually take a graphic, although you can do this in PicMonkey. We'll take a graphic every morning, and we've got pictures of all our challengers, and we'll do a graphic with different challengers on it every morning and stick it in there and go post your sweaty selfie with their picture in it. And so they feel a part of, right? So they become immersed in the group and feel a part, like they're being recognized and stuff like that. That's just one little thing we do. But again, we've only been doing that for 3 months, but it really helps. And then we actually schedule that into the group so we don't have to do it in the morning, but they love that. We do book club. We always do a book club. Again, it's part of treating your accountability group like a coaching group. So we do a book club so we make our challengers read a PD book just to get them in that mindset, right? So things like that help. I could talk about it for a long time, but there's a lot of different things. Yeah.
Thank you.
Just we're really engaged and it's new content all the time. So.
Do you guys have a lot of men or women or a lot of women? What's your group consist of mostly?
Mostly women.
Okay.
Mostly women.
Okay. Yeah, mine's all men.
So it's different.
a little different approach.
Yeah.
Just a bit. I'm just kind of curious about that. So
yeah.
That's funny. All right. Well, I don't see any more questions. Do you guys have any other questions? Look at Cody over there. He's like, "Yeah, what's up?" Hey, by the way, I gotta mention this. It was kind of funny. You said, because you're from Canada, that the whole Alabama thing, you can't get involved with that. Well, this dumbass is from Canada too.
Whereabouts?
I don't know where they're from.
We live down near Ottawa, but we lived in Kenora for the last 2 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Kenora.
Yeah.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
Oh, that's Julie.
So, all right. So, man, I don't see any other questions, but
these Canadians.
And there's quite a few Canadians on our team. Alita, right? Alita Steele.
Yeah, where is she? She's not on though. No, I see Julie.
Yeah, normally she's here, but anyways, thank you for taking the time. I know you got a busy schedule, and with the holidays, just tomorrow, shit, man, it's like tomorrow. Gosh damn. I know everybody's schedule is kind of messed up right now, but thank you so much. I know I can say this, but of course. I know I can say this on behalf of everybody. We really appreciate you taking the time to do this for us. And it was an awesome call, man. It was a really good call, and I'm excited for everybody to watch it tomorrow or the next day. So thanks, man. Appreciate
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
it.